Alright, I've just parked my car here at Whiskey Bravo Whiskey, grabbed my flight bag, and we'll walk up here and check out the windsock. Looks like runway 25. And we'll head down here to the FBO and check out the flag and the windsock. They're at a different elevation, so they might not agree with the one on the field, but they do. Looks like light winds, runway 25. Off to my left is 80471. We've got it rented and booked, and they've got it all prepped for me. And let's hop into the FBO. And haven't you always wondered what it looked like inside of here? So let's have a look. Off to the left is the can. That's the metal clipboard that has all the paperwork you need for the flight. Here's where I pay for the flight. Entryway has some merchandise, the bathrooms. As we walk in, off to my left is the briefing table, and of course, the coffee maker. I've had a lot of good briefs with my CFI sitting down at this table. We've got some chairs where you can just chill out. Map of the airport. Display case where you can buy things like headsets, rent things like headsets if you need. On the back wall, a bunch of awesome photos of all of the pilots and some cool things. And if we look out the window, we can see they're prepping a helicopter for flight. And back here is the breakout room where I spent a couple hours getting grilled for the oral exam for my check ride. So as we head out here past the gate, we'll come around 80471. We've got another student prepping for flight. Hey Mary, looks like a great day to go up. And then we'll head over to 471, hop into the pilot seat, and we'll get started. Alright, first things first, it's pretty warm out, so let's open up that window and let a little bit of fresh air in. One of the great things about 80471 is both windows open on each side. All of my switches are off, circuit breakers are in, mixture to cut off. The fuel selector will rotate through each position and then back to the center tank. Parking brake is on, clear prop. We'll put our feet on the brakes, turn on the battery and the alternator, check the fuel quantity left-right, and they gave me a full fuel tank just like I asked for. Bring the mixture into full rich, crack the throttle. We'll turn on the beacon and the fuel pump. Turn off the fuel pump. Keys in the ignition, crank it over. Check that we have oil pressure. We do have oil pressure, looks like a good engine start. We'll bring that throttle up to about 800 to 1000 RPMs. And then lean the mixture for ground operations. We can turn on bus 1, bus 2 for avionics now. And while we're down here, we may as well get the taxi and the landing light on. Looks good. As the Garmins are booting up, we'll head up to the compass, check it, and calibrate the directional versus the compass. Looks like it's already set. Calibrate the attitude indicator so that it's reading level. That all looks good. So in real life, when the Garmins boot up, there's a short calibration routine. It will deflect the needles on the course deviation indicator half up and half left, so you'll confirm that that happens. And then you'll turn the OBS to a set heading and see if it shows the same heading on the Garmin. That's not modeled here, although the screens do give you those instructions, but it would be cool if they added that in the future. Now we'll dial in our frequencies. We've got 1228 for Wilkes-Barre Wyoming Valley CTAF, and then we'll dial in 120.905 for Wilkes-Barre Approach. We may as well use the VOR, so we'll dial 111.6, which is Wilkes-Barre VOR, which is LVZ. And then on COM2, we'll put it on guard 121.5, and then make sure that we toggle over the COM2 button on so we can hear that. Close up our window and get ready for departure. Check that everything's clear. Wyoming Valley traffic, Skyhawk 80471, taxi from the ramp to runway 25, hold short, Wyoming Valley. Alright, as we get moving, we'll test our brakes. They work. And then today, because it's pretty quiet here, I think we're going to back taxi on runway 27, which is the grass strip, to the paved area, which we kind of unofficially call the run-up area for runway 25. So the grass strip's on the left here, and because we're taxiing on grass, we're going to pull back on the controls. That'll bring the elevator up and lift up the front of the nose wheel just a little bit to help protect it as we taxi on the grass. I actually really like taxiing on the grass. I've landed on the grass strip a few times, although I've never done it by myself, so I'll put that on my to-do list now that I have my pilot's license. As we do the run-up, we'll open up ForeFlight and take you through the flight brief. So we're departing from Whiskey Bravo Whiskey and flying to the Carryat Bridge before making any turns. That's because there were obstructions in the form of radio towers and turbines before that point. We'll do a direct 9 Delta 4 at the Carryat Bridge. That'll take us direct to deck. We'll fly to our first waypoint of Interstate 80 and 81, fly past Hazleton Airport, fly to our second waypoint of the Shenandoah Wind Farm, continue on to our third waypoint of Pottsville, and then our fourth and final waypoint, which will be the crossing of Interstate 78. That'll be the point where we descend and maneuver ourselves to enter a left downwind for deck. Deck is on my to-do list of places to fly in real life. It's a nice, scenic, easy cross-country flight, and I actually discovered it from watching Russ Can Fly's YouTube channel. I watched his channel before I started pursuing my pilot's license, and his channel was actually one of the things that helped give me inspiration to do just that. So in some of his early lessons, he flew to deck, and then after he got his private's license, he flew to deck a couple times. He flies out of Wingsfield and Doylestown, so it's a good short hop for him. A little bit further for me, but it's a good cross-country because it's greater than 50 nautical miles, and whenever you're logging cross-country time to meet requirements of getting your private's pilot license or your instrument rating, those flights need to be greater than 50 nautical miles straight line distance, which deck is. Alright, let's switch over to approach and give them a call. Wilkes-Barre approach, Skyhawk 80471, 2 miles west, Whiskey Bravo Whiskey at 1,800, direct deck, 9 Delta 4 at 4,500.
Skyhawk 80471, Wilkes-Barre approach, squawk 6267 and ident.
6267 and ident, Skyhawk 471.
Skyhawk 471, radar contact 2 southwest of Wilkes-Barre, Wyoming Valley Airport at 2,000 feet. Wilkes-Barre altimeter 29.901.
Position checks, 29901, Skyhawk 471. Alright, we're coming up on the Carryat Bridge already. There's the Market Street Bridge just behind us. So we're going to get the autopilot to help us at this point. We'll put it into heading mode, so I put my initial heading in here and let it continue climbing our altitude up to 4,500. And as soon as we make our turn here, then I'll head back to the GPS, do a direct 9 Delta 4, enter, put it into nav mode, and that'll put us on a straight line path directly towards deck. Whiskey Bravo Whiskey is interesting in that it's underneath a TERSA, which is like a voluntary approach ring for the AVP class Delta. So as a voluntary ring, you don't need to talk to approach, but if you do talk to them, they will offer you radar services such as flight following, which is what we just did. The flight school has an agreement with the TERSA to have pre-assigned squawk codes, so all of the airplanes have stickers on them with the squawk code that you just start with. So I'm used to not getting a squawk code, and I'm a little bit spoiled by that because they just say radar contact. Alright, we're above 3,000 feet, so we can turn off our taxi and our landing light. I'll leave the mixture where it is until we level out at 4,500. And then if we look over to our left here, you can see the radio towers that I've been trying to avoid by going to the Carryat Bridge. They're right in front of the lake there. That's a local radio and TV station. Alright, we're coming up on our cruise altitude, so we'll reduce RPMs to our cruise RPMs of 2,300 and lean the mixture for peak RPMs. So to do that, we're going to turn, not pull, the mixture very carefully and watch the RPMs increase. When they drop, then we'll push it back in a little so we've got peak power. And now we're on track, so let's sit back and enjoy that awesome flight simulator scenery.
Papa Delta climb and maintain 3000. Skyhawk 80471, Harrisburg departure, deck airport at your 12 o'clock, 13 miles. Change to advisory frequency approved. Radar services terminated. Squawk VFR.
Frequency change approved. Squawk VFR. Thanks for the help, Skyhawk 471. That's perfect, right where I wanted to start my descents. We'll dial 1,500, which is the pattern altitude. And for this approach, we're going to arrive directly at pattern altitude right into the left downwind because we already got the wind and we know which runway is in use. So we will bring on our taxi and our landing lights, mixture comes into full rich, and prep for descent and approach. I fly with an iPad mini connected to a Sentry Mini to give me ADS-B traffic, and one way to figure out which runway is in use is simply to see which runway the traffic's landing on. Another way is to listen on CTAF for the calls, and if you're really not sure, then you can overfly the airport above traffic pattern altitude, check out the windsock, and then figure out your entry. For today's flight, I'm just assuming that we saw the traffic and heard the CTAF call, so we're coming in on the left downwind for runway 19. And we're rolling out here on to the left downwind, and as we do, you can see that we're maybe about 80% up the strut for the spacing, which is a little bit further out than I'd like to be. I'd like to be halfway up the strut, but that extra spacing will give me more time to set up for final, which isn't a bad thing at an unfamiliar airport. So we got our first notch of flaps in. We're turning left base here. Now we'll get our second notch of flaps in. And as we turn final, here's where I make a decision if I want to go full flaps or not, or just come in with flaps 20. In this case, we've got full flaps. This runway is about the same length and even field elevation as Whiskey Bravo Whiskey. And not too bad for the landing. Take the first turn off here, and we'll park right over here by the pumps. As we get everything shut down, I'll take you through the debrief. So this is a short, easy VFR flight. I encourage you to try it. Whiskey Bravo Whiskey and 9 Delta 4 are both freeware airports. You can download both from the video details. And Lancaster, which is near deck, is interesting because it's home to the Amish, which were featured in the 1980s Harrison Ford film Witness. So check out that movie if you haven't seen it. It's a cool Harrison Ford movie. If you'd like to see more content just like this, or if you'd like to see something different, leave me a comment. Let me know what's on your mind. So thanks as always for flying along with me, and stay tuned for further flight adventures.